Hello, dear students. So in this new lesson, so as we started last time, we talked about some simple past of the verb be and the forms, the questions, the affirmative, the negative, right? So I want to revise a little bit the previous lesson. So we said that the verb be in the past goes as follow. I was, he was, she was, it was, we were, you were, they were. This is in the affirmative. In the negative, we said that it goes like I wasn't, he wasn't, she wasn't, it wasn't, you were not, you were not, they were not. And so we have something here in the negative. We can say, for example, we can say he wasn't or he was not. So the contracted form and the full form. For the questions, we have two questions. One starts with was and the other one starts with were. We can say, was he a teacher? Was he here last night? Or were you at school, for example? Were you in the supermarket? Right? So it depends whether you are talking to about singular or plural. Right. So today we're going to pass to another new lesson related to the past simple, and here we have a title right here. So here we have, it chased the cat. Right. So as you can see, we have a verb, right, in the past. So because we are going to see, of course, past simple of regular verbs. Okay. And especially common regular verbs. Okay, so write down, we have a story, right? We will listen to it, we'll follow, and then look at the different verbs used in this story right here. So the title is Bad Dog, right? So we'll listen.
Lesson 5B. It chased the cat. Exercise 1. Read the story. Who was the owner of the dog?
Urban myths. True or false? Bad dog. A young man arrived for a job interview at the house of a rich businessman. On his way to the house, he noticed a big black dog in the man's garden. Did he like dogs? No, he didn't. He hated them. He hurried to the house. The dog followed him into the businessman's living room. It didn't behave well. It walked all over the house. It jumped on the sofa with its dirty paws. It chased the cat. The businessman didn't stop the dog, and he didn't talk to it at all. The young man was very surprised. The interview finished, and he walked out of the house. The businessman stopped him and called out, "Don't forget your dog."
Right. Okay, so as we read the story, we listened to story. Okay, so we have a question here. Who was the owner of the dog? So can you guess who is the owner of the dog here? Right, so in the story, it is not mentioned who was the owner of the story, right? So we don't know exactly the owner of the story. Fine. So we moved now to comprehension 2 right here. So the question says, read the story again and number the pictures in the correct order. Okay, so you take some time, you can stop the video, you read the story, and then you put the pictures in the correct number. Alright. Have you found the right order? Alright, so let's start and number them in the correct order. So the picture number 1, it's C. Okay, picture number 1 is C. And 2, it's D. 3, it's B. And 4, it's A. Okay, so this is the correct order of the pictures. Let's repeat again. So picture number 1, it's C. 2, D. 3, it's B. And the last one is A. Okay, so now it's okay with the numbering the pictures. Now we move to vocabulary and we will see common regular verbs. Okay, common regular verbs. This means that these verbs are common. These verbs are used a lot, so we have to remember them. We have to memorize them. Okay, and as we have here, you read these verbs and check the meaning of any new ones. Okay, of course you may know some and you may know not others, but we can explain some difficult ones. And we start with the first one, answer. It's clear, it's easy. Arrive, ask, behave means to act, all right, to do something. Okay, to call, to carry, to chase means to run after something, as we have in the title of the lesson here. We have the dog, it chased the cat. It means it ran after the dog, after the cat. So we have here decide, discover, drop, finish, follow, happen, hate, hurry. Hurry is to move quickly, to jump, to like, to listen, to look, to love, to notice, to open, to order, to phone, to pick, to realize, to remember, to reply, to answer, to start, to stay, to stop, to talk, to taste, or you can taste food, you can taste, for example, soup. Is it salty, spicy, right? With your tongue. Turn, walk, want, and watch. So these verbs are to retain, to remember, to memorize. They are important in our communication. Good. So now we move to grammar. So we have here a table about past simple of regular verbs, right? How regular verbs are conjugated in the simple past, either in affirmative or negative or interrogative questions. So here we have he hated, he stopped, he hurried. Here we have he didn't hate, he didn't stop, he didn't hurry. As you notice, we have ed added at the end of these verbs, right? As the rule. So the rule is to add an ed, and the rule of having a negative sentence is to add did, didn't, or did not. Okay, did not plus, of course, the infinitive of the verb. In questions we have did. What did the dog chase? Did it chase the cat? So the short answer, yes, it did, or no, it didn't. Now, can you give me some similar sentences with I, he, or she, and we? For example, let's take Zakaria. Can you think of some examples? Or, for example, Khadija Asqali, can you give me some examples with simple past using, of course, the verbs that we have explained here in the box, right? So take some time, stop the video, and think of similar examples. Good. So we pass. Okay. We go here to practice. Right. So the practice says write the past tense forms of the verbs in exercise 3, but be careful. Right. So be careful with the spelling of carry, drop, hurry, reply, and stop. Okay, so because here, the spelling is important, right? So we have to care about it. So let's go to exercise 3 and put these verbs in the simple past. For example, the first verb, answer, the simple past is answered. Number 2, arrived. Ask, asked. Behave, behaved. Call, called. Carry, carried. Chase, chased. Decide, decided. Discover, discovered. Drop, dropped. Finish, finished. Followed, happened, hated, hurried, jumped, liked, listened, looked, loved, noticed, opened, ordered, found, picked, realized, remembered, replied, started, stayed, stopped, talked, tasted, turned, walked, wanted, and watched. As you notice, it's easy to have the simple past in the affirmative. So we add just ed, but please notice that we have some changes in spelling for some verbs, like carry, right? Carry. We drop y and add ied. And here reply, we drop also y and add ied. Then here stay. Stay, no, we don't drop y because we have a vowel before. Okay, because we have a vowel before. It's like play. We played, stayed, so it doesn't change. And for this verb, drop and stop. Drop and stop. We double the last letter, which is P. So we have doubled P, because we have here CVC consonant, vowel consonant. So therefore we double P. So dropped and stopped. Okay. So these are some changes that happen with the simple past in affirmative form. Good. So now we shall move to another part, which is, of course, pronunciation. Right, pronunciation. How to pronounce the ed endings, right? In the simple past. Okay. Good. So here, as you can see, right, the pronunciation of ed endings in the past. So we have 3 different sounds. Okay, so these are sounds, not letters. For example, the first sound is t and d and id. Okay. Once we find that a verb ends with c, k, double s, right? We pronounce always t, as it is exemplified here. We have work, worked, watch, watched, and the sound the. When we have a verb that ends with l or g or b, we pronounce the, happened, discovered, right? So the. And the last one is id. So we have decided or wanted. So when we have a verb that ends with t or d, we pronounce it, right? So we will see other examples in the coming lessons, right? So now we move to activity 7. So it says you complete. So you complete the text with the past simple form of the verbs. Okay, and here the first example is given, right? So we have stop, and the simple past is stopped with double P, okay, as we explained before. Then we have in number 2 love. What is the simple past of love? Of course, it's loved, okay, loved. The number 3 talk, talked. 4 ask, we have here ask between brackets, so simple past asked. And here answer, simple past is answered. Then here 6 not want. Okay, notice that we have not and want, so this is negative, it should be negative. So didn't, so we say didn't want to get off the plane. Then we move to 7, we have walk. So we add also an ed, then we have the simple past walked. For 8 we have look, looked, notice, noticed. They not ask, it's the same like 6, so they didn't ask and they just Harry. So Harry, it ends with Y, so therefore we drop Y and add IED. So they just harried. Okay, so this is you know how we get the simple past form of the verbs, and it's not something that is difficult, it's easy, right? And now we move to activity 8. So we'll have, of course, to make questions about the text in exercise 7, right? So, and here you must read this example before you go through the other questions. The plane stopped in New York. Okay, and we have a question mark, so it's a question, so we have to make it a question. So we have did the plane stop in New York? And the answer is no, it didn't. If it's yes, we write yes, it did. Okay. Number 2, we have the pilot talk to the musician. So what is the question form of this? It's did the pilot talk to the musician? Number 3, the musician walk the guide dog. The musician walk the guide dog. The question is, did the musician walk the guide dog? The answer is no, he didn't. Number 4, the passengers notice the guide dog. Did the passengers notice the guide dog? Yes, they did. The passengers, in number 5, the passengers stay on the plane. Did the passengers stay on the plane? No, they didn't. 6, the pilot be blind. So here you have to notice that we have the verb be, okay? So we cannot use did here, but rather was the pilot blind? Was the pilot blind? And the answer is no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Great. For the last activity, we have 9 and 10. So here I will ask you to communicate this activity with me, recording of course an audio. So you must record an audio, then you send me the answers. So of course you will talk about yourselves, you will ask and answer questions, okay, in some examples of yours. For number 10, here you will write a story using the pictures and prompts. So every one of you will write a story, but of course you will use pictures to help write a story in the simple past. And here we have a sentence that as a start to begin with. An American girl walked into an ice cream shop in Los Angeles. So number 1 is already done. All you have to do is to complete the other pictures, right? So that's what you have to do. And I hope that you understood how to put the verbs in the past simple, to talk about past events, and to express yourselves in the past. So it's nice to have you. Take care and goodbye.